Hello, and welcome to the activity Owning Your Space. This activity is great practice for your students or participants to really learn how to walk into a new space, be in a new space, and feel confident or at peace with themselves and not incredibly nervous. Now, this is really important when we are going to a new job, even if we have signed up for a new sports team or going into a new classroom. How we arrive is important as to how other people see us, especially when we're going to an interview or the first day on a job. So with this activity, I'm going to kind of go through the instructions, and then I'm going to demonstrate certain ways and instructions and ways of moving that I would call out to the students. So again, you are welcome to include any new ways or instructions into your teaching based on what you're doing in your class. So first things first is I would tell the students to get in a circle so I can explain what we're doing. Explain that we're doing this activity, owning your space, and this is all about you acting and being in a space as if you're meant to be there. A lot of us feel shy and maybe insecure the first time we go into a space, and that's totally normal. It's about, showing yourself and being brave and knowing within you that you can still walk into that space while still feeling nervous. Now, I would have all the students, I would ask them to go outside. The first thing is to go outside so they're not even in the classroom. And when they enter the class and walk in, this is when the activity starts. So the rules of the activity is nobody is able to talk to one another unless you ask them to. So the first thing, they're going to come in and they're just going to walk through the space in a very nonchalant, very easy pace, just walking around and observing the space as if they are seeing it for the first time. So go to each of the corners. Don't walk around the room in a circle it a couple times. Maybe walk to that corner, walk to the other corner, walk back to that one, look up at the ceiling. Be curious about the space that you are in. Now, you're not socializing with anybody else. If you happen to, brush up on someone or bump into someone accidentally, then that's okay, but just don't engage in conversation. Of course, go over safety measures with your students. Be aware of your surroundings and who is around them. You don't want to meaningfully, bump into anybody. Second is you're going to say to your students that you're going to instruct them to move in different ways. So as the instruction goes, they're going to have to hear it in their mind, and then in their body, they're going to have to put that instruction to action. So those different ways of moving, I have a list of them. Those are in your toolkit write-up. And again, you're able to include any other ways you want them to move in the classroom. So I would say the first one, again, walking in nonchalantly, walking at a pace that is very comfortable to you, and being curious about the room that you're in. Have this for, going for about a minute or 30 seconds to a minute. It kind of depends on how your student's warming up to it. Then I would shift and change into walk as if you were in the busy streets of New York. Okay, so many people around you, the pace is a lot quicker that in this city than other cities or towns. So walk through that. Again, nobody's talking, but have your body move to that action or move to that instruction. I would have them practice that, again, 30 to 60 seconds, depending on how your students are. And I would switch, walk as if you are moving through a nursery with babies sleeping. So you have to shift your mind and your action from walking pretty pretty fast pace into you're walking in a nursery where babies are sleeping, so you have to be really quiet. So how do you shift that movement in the area? Be careful of people around you, and how are you changing that dynamic of your movement? From there, changing and shifting into you are an animal in the jungle with other animals around you. The students can choose what animal they want to be, a tiger, a monkey, toucan Sam, whatever it is they want, and they can implement sounds into that movement as well. Next, so 30 to 60 seconds. If your students are having a lot of fun with this one, maybe you want to stretch it out a little bit longer, it's up to you. Shifting that into walking backwards through the room. Again, safety first. You want to be at a slower pace, making sure that you're not walking into anyone or anything. Shifting that to walking really heavy. Imagine that you have a 100-pound bag of sand on your shoulders and you're walking through the space. How are you going to move through that space? How is your level going to be? If I have a huge thing of sand on my shoulders, I'm probably not going to be very tall. I'm going to be hunched over and closer to the ground. Then the opposite of that, rip that hole in the bag of sand, let it all go out onto the floor and become really light. So how do you move and shift of transition from heavy into lighter? From there, walk as if you were going to your new job on the first day. How are you walking into that room? How are you walking into that office? Next, walking through the space if you were just delivered the best news ever. You were offered your dream job and it's like winning the lottery. How do you express yourself? Again, you're not talking to one another, you're just moving amongst your peers in a way that you would. You can't get it wrong, it's whatever your expression would be. Lastly, shifting to you, the students can now talk. They're going to connect with someone around them. One other person, if there's an odd number, have a group of 3, or you can go with them. And connect with someone around you and start a conversation as if you were speaking to someone on the first day of the job. So what are you going to say to them? What questions are you going to ask? How are you going to seem in your body? What is your posture going to be like? Your facial expressions? Are you going to be really shy? Or are you going to put, a face on and an action that matches the excitement? And even, excitement and nervousness are very similar feelings. So how can we shift that into being excited to meet someone else, even if we're feeling a little bit nervous? Okay, so then after that, you say, go back to walking really nonchalantly, and you can then end the exercise to debrief. So going through all of those different stages, all of those different instructions of how to move your body. So after debriefing is going to be very important, especially based on what you're learning in your class. So how did you feel walking in those different paces? Did your mind and your body, were they doing the same thing? Like walking through the streets of New York, in my mind, I'm thinking this is really fast and I'm kind of panicking a little bit being in New York. Is my body matching that? When you first walked into the space as if it was your new job, how did that feel? What came up for you? What feelings of a little bit insecurity or excitement? Because we can feel 2 emotions at the same time. So it's okay to feel nervous and excited. It's okay to feel fearful and motivated, right? You're a little bit fearful of going to the job, but you're motivated to work hard. So as a human, we can feel those two emotions at the same time. So again, debriefing, really important. It's a really fun exercise. So I'm going to quickly just demonstrate how I would shift through the different instructions. I'm not going to go through all of them. And so have fun with it and make it your own as well. Be creative in attaching what you're learning in class to the activity.